Okie dokie. Think there we go. Finally getting live. Welcome to the show, everybody. Public today. We got some people on vacation, so I figure may as well make it a little bit of a party. Market is, not doing super hot. I don't think there's anything major to do here. We rolled over last week pretty handily. Let's see where Monday was. There's Monday. So Saturday was here after that drop. Right there. What's up, Blair? Oh, that's Wednesday. There's Monday. Saturday. So there's Saturday. So here's Saturday. Didn't really do anything. Rolled over. Hadn't made any subsequent highs. Yeah, I am public. What's up with your name? Is that something new? Or has it always been like that? Did you want to go private for something, Mike? Or oh, okay. If you want to discuss something, oh, okay. Yeah, Aram's out, so I figured go public, make it a little bit more interesting. Not that you're not interesting, Mike. You're just not that interesting. No, in reality, this market's not that interesting. So I think maybe get some perspectives. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't think I am though. I mean, obviously the rollover is pretty consistent. Yesterday is an interesting candle. Um, it's it's one of those candles. Like it looks like it could be a bottoming candle from the daily perspective. I mean, it is pretty high volume. We talked about during my video yesterday some type of capitulation and how it really would probably have to get above this volume level. I'm trying to give some context. Yeah, so these are actual capitulations over here. Um, yeah, well, you know how it is. You know how it is mixing, Charlie Lee. Yeah, I think we'd have to get like above this, maybe something like that. The one thing would make Bitcoin collapse. Well, yeah, they're cracking the algorithm. I think would obviously do that in about 12 seconds. Um, I mean, that's really about it. It's the algorithm. It's the network that holds Bitcoin with value. Um, it's really just trust and sentiment. It's very simple. It's the gold argument. It's the gold argument too. I mean, gold's been around forever. Um, we know that argument, which is not invalid. As a matter of fact, I would argue that this year, maybe beginning last year, gold is having a resurgence that hasn't been seen in a long time. I don't have a date for that, but China's using gold again. They call it like the gold road or something, whatever they call it. So they're offering to store foreign gold, which is huge. Yeah, China's gold strategy challenges dollar dominance. So gold is having a resurgence this year, and I saw a chart where China's just eating up gold. They're trying to become, yeah, reserves of 2,300 gold, 2,300 tons of gold. But some people think it's much more. Some people think it's like 5,500 tons of gold. Um, I mean, obviously, you look at the charts, you look at the markets and stuff like that. So gold is seeing a resurgence. Bitcoin is just Bitcoin. Gold is probably, we used to make fun of gold. I used to make fun of gold, but it's different now. Things have changed fundamentally when you have, okay, so China has the largest gold exchange in the world now, some Shanghai market thing that they've been building, and they're trying to make it where they are the holders of the world's gold instead of the United States. It's kind of a way to start devaluing the dollar. Um, that really is just sidestepping the whole dollar sector, which is very interesting and a very good strategy. Another thing they're doing is they're trying to make, or somebody is trying to make gold something that you can borrow against, which will probably cause a global everything bubble. And however many hundreds of years, but it'll be good for the next couple hundred years. Yeah, so Shanghai Gold Exchange serves as the operational centerpiece for this alternative framework, emphasizing physical metal delivery over derivative contracts. So similar to digital, a little bit of a blockchain with physical contracts. So they are kind of, yeah, the gold, yeah, well, another gold standard, yeah. Yeah, starting the cycle. And you know what? This cycle's been repeated throughout history. I mean, maybe Ray Dalio said something about this. I haven't really talked about it yet or researched it yet, but yeah, it's going to be another gold standard. I'm sure the dollar's still going to exist. I'm sure that not much is going to change from that perspective. It's just going to be a slow, and so the evolving world, the third world, the second world, even. I'm not sure why there's only the first and the third world. There's never seems to be a second person, a second world. Seems like the seconds have been forgotten, but they're trying to take those smaller countries, put them on this gold standard, and make them responsible, or I guess beholden to China because they're holding all the gold. And so they can, the way it works right now is that if you're in Africa and you mine gold, you have to sell it for dollars and do transactions in dollars. What China is saying is, okay, you are mining gold, give us the gold, we'll give you the yuan, and you still own the gold. Like you said, another gold standard. So, but globally, and that's a big difference. It's going to start with the small countries, and I'm sure the big countries will eventually start to do something with gold again. The United States has been a bad steward of gold since the 80s or 90s, whenever I think France tried to send over a ship to get their gold, and we told them fuck off. Yeah, France really repatriated all of its gold. So, but yeah, there was a French gold smuggled into the U.S. before. Anyway, someone, maybe it was Spain or somebody, but anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up, you talk about Bitcoin, is I think this is an important conversation, to be honest with you. This China conversation and gold. I don't think gold is going to stop. I think it's, I don't know when China is going to stop buying all this gold, but in terms of BTC, China isn't doing anything with BTC. Neither is the U.S. The U.S. is just as unfavorable as it's been recently. But what would make Bitcoin just collapse? I think the encryption aspect of it, lack of demand would typically do that, continued lack of demand, and there's no singular trigger for that, I don't think. There could be one. Obviously, if you have the encryption, which gets broken, there will be a lot of lack of demand due to that. But there's, there could be a number of things. It could be MicroStrategy starting to sell Bitcoin. It could be, just name it. Just a lack of demand generally in the marketplace. Bitcoin got to 100,000 for crying out loud. Those of you that have been involved in crypto for a while, we talked about 100,000, but to actually see it, to see these numbers on the right be this large, just seems crazy to a lot of people. So, it could be a point where, people are selling here that have wanted to sell for a long time. Some of the Bitcoin maximalists maybe are taking profits here. It's hard to tell exactly, but you could say that with any other Bitcoin top also. So hard to say. I don't think we can know. I just don't think we can know until, Quantum's getting, I'm not sure how Quantum's close to breaking, was it SHA 256? Didn't Bitcoin, and they're going to switch to SHA 512? I can't type. I thought they were going to switch. It applies a double SHA 256 process for mining. Maybe that's better. Uses a second hash function in the process of generating public addresses. So I don't know, how close is quantum computing to cracking Bitcoin. 10 to 15 years, 2030. You know, we're about 5 years away. So if you think it's, I mean, if quantum's been accelerating. It's kind of reading here. Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, no one's going to know until it's done. I mean, in reality, maybe China's going to do it. Maybe North Korea's going to do it. Maybe that's why China isn't in Bitcoin, because they just want to collapse the market, which will collapse some of Western society. Take a quick $1 trillion, you know, out of the market cap of the Western world. You look at Bitcoin's market cap, if these things will load. 1.6 trillion just gone real quick. So like probably what, 2 trillion for the overall crypto market. I don't seem to have the numbers up here anymore, but you catch my drift. I mean, I think that would not be good. You know, does Bitcoin last forever? I don't know. Like, a lot of people kind of have that thought to it. Don't know why YouTube changed this. That's your best name ever there, Mike. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'll get back to some price action stuff here. But yeah, I don't know. It's just juxtaposing, walking around potential futures. I really do think gold is going on a resurgence. I mean, is gold the new Bitcoin? Is the Shanghai Gold Exchange gonna be really valuable? Well, the gold exchange exists, but the physical aspect of it, and they are using some form of a blockchain, but it's not Bitcoin. And that's the thing with blockchain. It's an invention that doesn't really solve a problem, but people will use blockchains to solve problems. You know, everyone for a while thought Ethereum would end up kind of eating up the world's XYZ, whatever you select, right? That has not happened. So will it in the next 10 years? If it hasn't happened now, why would it happen in the next 10 years? I know when AI came out and the internet came out, it got adopted pretty quickly and found some pretty broad use cases. Unfortunately, crypto is kind of stuck in this very niche thing that it does and can't seem to break out from that. And it's, you know, utilized in a use case here and there, but it's really not anything that is extraordinarily widely adopted. So, not to, you know, shit on anyone's parade, but just the facts of the matter are the fact that crypto really hasn't taken a broad hold other than Bitcoin. And for decent reason. I mean, I don't think Bitcoin is bad. I like Bitcoin. I think it's good. I like what it represents. I like a lot of things about it. So, anyway, all right, back to price action. Yeah, volume dried up on BTC and a bear flag looking lower unless proven otherwise. And so I kind of started talking about this hammer candle. I think I got sidetracked by the question there. I was talking about this hammer candle. It's not quite a capitulation. It is a high volume bottom candle. There is a large wick to the downside of it, but is it an actionable candle? I think that is up for debate. I think if you go back, I haven't done this, but I'm guessing, I don't know if this is going to happen in 3 seconds or 300, but we'll find a candle like that didn't really do a whole lot. So here's one. There's a candle like that. That one maybe, I mean, it's not as much of a wick to the downside. Yeah, it's confusing waiting. That's the tact that I take, is if it's confusing, wait. Here's one that's okay, big volume. It's the third candle on the drop. I guess that's the third candle on the drop. That's the second candle on the drop. I'm a little off center for my screen, so my eyes are actually like on the far right side of the screen, so it's a little bit off. But so high volume, it's the second candle down, and the next one was immediately lower volume, and then we consolidated one more. Then we put in and probably a very likely hammer candle. It's not perfect. Let me get this orange thing in case it's confusing. I mean, it's pretty darn close to a hammer candle. We rally for 2 days, get up to the trend line, which is already firmly established, which, yeah, you could probably draw it there. Maybe you give it the wicks on this one. Looks like I have a trend line there. There we go. So comes back up to the trend line, just stalls immediately, lower volume than the hammer candle. So Really not as much follow through. The volume aggregation tool doesn't give it any love. RSI is okay, and it just doesn't do anything. So we could be in for something either like this hammer where we rally for a couple days and just don't do anything, or we roll over immediately. But it doesn't look like a bottoming candle. Let's try to find another example. So there's a half of one. We'll call that 1.5. Now this one is interesting. This one, this I do believe could be actionable, and it preceded this flag. So here you have a low volume situation, and you're trying to roll over. And I remember this. I think this is the candle I'm recalling. I think I talked about this being higher volume after a low volume sell-off, being supportive, and then you have a retest. So that double bottomed it and just started looking good. So this looks better, undercut and rally on this candle, and this candle double bottoming with it, both with high volume. That's a good confident signal. Then you get the bull flag. But on the way down, which is where we're at now, you're looking for those signatures. Let's check out this one, this high back at 74. Roll over. Don't really have a lot. Here's one with some high volume. I'm just looking at volume. Here's some high volume. So this one put in a bounce for a bit, a shakeout high, and then you get a little run back to trend, and then stalls at trend. So a seemingly repeating pattern over the couple examples seems to be a stalling after a rally. So you rally back to trend and stall. That seems to be that. This one, kind of a similar thing actually. Another hammer. You rally into trend and stall. You put in another higher volume, more like a capitulation candle. This one came down dramatically. Now the percentage drop wasn't as dramatic, but it did come after this full drop, which is almost the full height of the structure. So 30% in one go. So that is a form of a capitulation candle, I believe. And even if you don't buy it in the moment, just because it didn't do too much, and it really didn't go down that far. You did undercut and rally this low undercut and rally, this low. So you kind of have a sequence of undercut and rallies, and the market's just unwilling to drop. I mean, if you look at this, look at the volume. There's not a lot of selling pressure. Hold on a second. All right. Sorry, had a cough and get some water to do that. Sorry, Mike, I didn't see your other comments. It's confusing when waiting. Not convinced. Go to 67K next week. The big moves down can often have enticing candles to try to pull you in. Yeah, and it depends how active you're going to be, whether you want to be involved in that. We've seen some examples of where things can rally, but you have to be nimble. And so here's a current 2-hour. So I mentioned in the newsletter about looking for a Wyckoff test candle. I don't know if I'll be able to find them on these ones, but a Wyckoff test, a spring test. I don't know if it's called a test or a spring test or what it is, but test of springs. So it defines a low essentially. Yeah, see, talk about Wyckoff. I'm talking about a singular one. And Gil Morales talks about this. I've heard it talked about other places as well. If you look at April's garbage that Trump caused, there was a spring there. So I can kind of loosely define the spring for you by giving you this example. So that's your test. So you come down, you define some kind of a low in some kind of a way. You rally, you try to roll over, and you basically end up with low volume supply. And it's usually a day. I mean, I guess it could be 2 or 3 days, but you end up with, this was kind of the test day, whether we were going to roll over again or not. So we held the low, we rallied, we consolidated, we paused, right? This high holding us down, essentially putting in a box, so the high and the low being defined. And then you basically undercut and rally the box, I guess, is at least in this particular circumstance. But I do remember And it was after the fact that I think I saw this was defined as a test day, and I didn't identify it or think in those terms. I don't generally think in those terms, but in this case, it's a valid Wyckoff test, at least is what it was called. Trying to get some more information, but I do know they have. I have seen that before too, but everyone focuses on the cycle. But Wyckoff has a number of methodologies and indicators, I guess. So the law of supply and demand. I mean, this is key to Wyckoff and key to the markets. 1,000,000%. When demand is greater than supply, price rises. When supply is greater than demand, prices fall. It's pretty straightforward. So I think supply demand analysis, buying, selling tests, Wyckoff selling test for distribution, test for accumulation. Maybe there's something in here. Test number 3. So he's talking about the test in terms of these structures, which I mean are valid, but it's not the one we're looking at. I don't know if they have. Point and figures were big back in the early 1900s. We don't really use them anymore. Not too many people do. Yeah, I'm not seeing what I'm looking for here in terms of that singular test candle. So there's a bit of a test right there, I guess. I don't know. That doesn't look right though. So that looks like a support candle. Yeah, it's hard to say exactly, but you generally hope you get the gist of it. There we go, back to charts. So that's just kind of a test. This market does appear to be buying bottoms back much faster these days, which is, I think, eventually going to lead to a calamitous situation where people try to buy bottoms and they just get killed. They just, some of it probably happened here, may happen here. It's hard to tell. We'll circle back to stocks at some point, but okay. So we have the drop. I agree with Mike. I don't think it's buyable. I do think we could get a bounce, but we also looked at resistance. Typically, a candle such as this, which is not a definitive candle, but there's definitely a component of buying or short covering or just a lack of selling in this, which caused the remaining pressure to be buying pressure. So there's yesterday intraday. You have a high volume candle there, high volume candle there. So these almost cancel each other out. And then, but you start moving up the rest of the day. So now it's a weekend. Now we're low volume consolidating. Well, if you want to trade to the long side, you need to be aware of a couple of things. That the high of this structure, which is here, the breakdown point, which is at about the same point. You have another breakdown point here. You have more. There's lots and lots of places for this thing to stall. So this seems to be a pivot point right there. Pivot point, breakdown point, pivot point, another breakdown point right about there. And yes, that is also a breakdown point. You can have multiple breakdown points of markets. When they break down not just once, they break down multiple times, and they are each valid. Kind of like when you're breaking a bridge, you got to fix each. You have to repair each one. So these are resistance until proven otherwise. Low 80s is a key support level, but if it's just there, if there's any follow through, i.e. more buying. Yeah, so it looks like we did get a floor at about 80,000. I really wasn't looking at the number. So supported about 80,000, kind of a big round number. They went a little bit above it, just below 81. Yeah, so we rally here. I mean, I think this would be very first. If you can't rally past these interim consolidation lows like this one, like you drop, you come up, you put in a high, you can't rally past that. Is not good. You see it here, you don't put in new highs. You see here, you don't put in new highs. Here, we haven't put in new highs yet, but with this candle, maybe we'll start to rebound a little bit. And then the question is, what is the demand, or is there demand? And you have so many places. We talked about rallying into resistance. Well, we're well below the Wyckoff top. So what do you rally into? Well, on the daily, I guess you got this bear flag. We could kind of rally into that level, which could rally into, pick a resistance line, choose your own adventure. Right now, it could stall. Look at all these lines. Each of these are resistance points going forward. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at positional trading, like I said, you could rally into something here. It's going to be hard to know exactly what. If you look at this rally here, see on my daily, this is in the bear flag. We try to rally up, right? Um, you rally up, you attempt, you try to go up again, you fail, volume is minimal, and then you start to roll over while you're looking. We talked about shorting somewhere over here, and that being a great stop because you try to go, you got a couple higher highs. Once you have a lower low, or I'm sorry, a lower high, or you know you're breaking down from that high, that's a great stopping point for a short because you've already exhausted all of your buying pressure, and then we get this crazy drop. So if you shorted up here and your stops at 107, now you're down here at 84.5 with some options. You could sell on yesterday's support. You could wait for a bounce back, or I mean, you could think we're gonna come up and roll back over again. Either way, I agree with Mike. It doesn't look good. I don't like any of it. Would you sell that candle if the chart was the other way around? Oh yeah, good question. Um, Good question. Would I sell it? I love that question, Mike. I'm actually leaning no. Over here, I thought it would be yes, but in here, I think it's no. Because you get the breakout right here. You get this, there's a little bit of topping, but it's not super climactic when you have this right behind you. Um, that's a little troubling. I'm leaning no. You got structure here. Obviously, this one. I think if you're profitable, you hold into this. Great question, Mike. Thank you for saying that. Puts things in a whole different perspective. Yeah. Yeah, at the same time, you have this resistance coming up. Yeah, so I think if it tries again and fails, yes, I would be out very quickly at that point. Yeah. Yeah, it's on. I mean, with that kind of volume, it definitely runs the risk of the reversal, right? Of the bounce back. And in this case, it would be a rebound into resistance. So, um, yeah, if you want to take profits on that, you can, but you also can let it play out. Like I don't think it's a bad thing if this were inverted. I don't think I would sell. I would actually probably I would probably hold it for a little bit longer. Um, but if it broke down, I would sell. I mean, you're at that point. You're at that point where it's going to have to prove itself to break this. We've already come such a long way down, and actually, if you look at, we're pretty close to where this kind of a Wyckoff bottom was over here. Yeah, there's a little bit of a gap there, but great question though. But yeah, I do think we could bounce. In that case, yeah, I would definitely sell because yeah, I don't like to. I don't want to hold anything and give back any profit. So if I was short, uh, yeah, I'd probably sell it. If I was short, I'd probably sell it. So yeah, you sell it, then you re-enter. You sell it, then you re-enter. It's just there's too much profit on the table. You don't want to give any up. The second I see a print in my account, I want to keep it. I just want to be as greedy as possible with the money that goes into my account, even if it's paper money. It's so easy to get back in these things that yeah, I think you just sell it and you wait a little bit. If it bounces back up, you see clear resistance at this pivot point or this pivot point. Now these horizontals are going to be a little bit easier and more logical than these diagonals. These diagonals are kind of they're stretching. I mean, this is a pretty vertical move. Doesn't mean that they can't be resistance or they won't be resistance. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would sell it. If it can't get past here, I'm back in immediately. Like if it comes here, you sell, and it's just not moving up, and there's no orders that you can get back in. But yeah, I think this can stall us. This can bounce us very easily, but it doesn't look like the move is over. It just doesn't look that way. Now, I'll give a positive here. A positive is that we didn't get all the way down to these lows. We did get close, however. So we just kind of have to see how the weekend plays out. Yeah, but I mean, overall, you're not happy. This is a more aggressive sell-off than this was, and this one didn't do too much. I mean, it was fairly heavy, but I mean, that was all you got. You didn't get any follow-through, and this is already. I mean, pick your point. You know, I chose the breakdown point, so that's already more selling. Look at the VA tool here. Oh, that one actually had more. Oh, those stupid things are in the way. Yeah, see, this had more selling pressure than this does, and this got down farther. So, I mean, really could look like a bit of there's a lack of demand. I knew I was going to regret doing that. There we go. Okay. Lack of demand causing it to drop a little bit further. Yeah. I think a bounce here is very rational and very normal. You have some levels to rally into. You could rally into this upward sloping trend line as well, which is kind of near this breakdown point. So there's lots of stuff on the table. You know, whether it's actually, like if you're cash right now, are you buying? I think if you're going to be very active, you could look for a trade. You just have to have a very defined risk spot. That's it. Progressively shorter bear flags than the speed we're going down does not bode well. Yeah, we did. I wasn't really catching on that. I think you or someone else said that, and yeah, you guys are right about that. Yeah, bear flag. This really never turned into a bear flag, and then it went straight down. Now the drops aren't as dramatic as they were. Maybe Michael Saylor buying some more, who knows? But yeah, I mean, I guess if you look in terms of these last couple dips, this one was, say, it was 33%. This one, 32%. I think we did this last week too. 35%. So I mean, it's already in some pretty low territory over the past couple of years, given the drops it has done. But one thing that makes this a little bit different, at least for what I do here on this chart, is my Pi method trend lines are broken, all except for this one right here. This would take us down to that 70 level that you were talking about, Mike. You said 67K next week. Yeah, 67K next week would bounce us right off this trend line. I think that could be actionable if that happens. That seems a little bit extreme for that to occur. I don't think we get any new highs, or maybe one and it's sold off hard. I think you would need a clear rejection, because there could be, yesterday's candle could put some hope in some people, and you have to strip that hope away. If you say the numbers 6 and 7 separately, Mike, and start waving your hands, I'm gonna fly to the UK and slap you in the face and fly back. That's do they do 6-7 over there in the UK? I sure hope not. That's a trend of the kids with the US if you don't get that reference. My kids go 6-7, and then they like move their hands back and forth. It's kind of weird. So maybe you don't get that reference, but other parents would. Why 67K? If you're going to say weekly Bollinger Bands, that'd be the more likely answer. I took Bollinger Bands off, cleaned up my stuff a little bit. Oh, are you doing it, Mike? Are you 6-7ing me online from the UK in a chat? Mike just 6-7'd me. My kids, if I call my kids in here, they're going to give you a gold star. Oh, top of last cycle? This one? Oh. You don't know what I mean. So you can probably go to YouTube and do 6-7, and it's just crazy. Yeah, these kids do the 6-7 thing. Friends that won't stop making 6-7. 6-7. That's what they do. That's freaking. Yeah, that's what they do. How tall are you? I don't know. 6'7". 6'7". Yeah. It's horribly annoying. It's horribly annoying. Okay. Well, I mean, it's good to know those numbers. It's good to, yeah, yeah. I didn't think about that. It wasn't on the chart so long ago. Got to zoom the chart out a little bit more. Yeah, that I think that could be hit. Did we get it once already? We kind of came up here and chopped around it. I don't know if it's going to be as important. This trend line's also right at the same spot. Yeah, I guess we'll see where we end up. Overall, though, I'm not really enjoying the market. I do think we could get that bounce. Um, the question is into this level, into this level, or into this level. I think that's the question if you get the bounce. So if you want to play it, I think you can. That's 5, that's 9, that's 11%. It could go a little bit more than that if you want to. But the trend does look lower. Someone asked me if we're at the end of if we're in a bear market. Is the bear market here? Um, I mean, I think, I, yeah, I would say, I'd say it's been here for a minute. I would say it's been here for a minute. I didn't define it as a bear market. We talked about breaking the Wyckoff structure, um, but I think it's been here for a little bit. I don't think you can really remove a bear. I don't know. I don't think of it like that. I guess about a bear. Like people say, there's dips and there's corrections and there's bear markets. While that's true, I'm not discounting that. I don't view it in that context. I just view it, is the selling done yet? And then someone says, "Oh, we're in a bear market." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like it's so. But if you say like a long, prolonged downtrend, like a bear market, that type of a bear market, we'll see what happens here. I mean, so here's the thing about market timing, right? People, I think people will consider me a market timer. I consider myself a market timer, but there's a misconception about what a market timer actually is. A market timer doesn't tell the future. It just reads price action on the rightmost side of the chart where a lot of people probably aren't looking, and kind of gleams possible futures and knows when things are looking worse or looking better. That's really all it is. It's not that I know where the S&P or Bitcoin is going to be in 6 or 12 months. That's not what market timing is. It's just not. There's no the people that try to do that don't make money. They're paid, they're analysts by JP Morgan, and they're just paid to put a report out. So JP Morgan can sound smart. And those guys are never right. They're right like 30% of the time. So all we can look at is, hey, like Wyckoff, we just looked at Wyckoff talk about accumulation and distribution. That's all we do is look at accumulation distribution. Are we accumulating now? Are we distributing now? What is the price action doing? Is there a change in the price action? Well, the Wyckoff was a change in price action behavior. We came from this uptrend into a top. After here, and you come down, you get the Wyckoff. And then you're looking for continuation of the Wyckoff pattern, and that continuation is to the downside, which happens. That's all it is. So I don't know if we're in a bear market. I don't know. You take, like I say, one leg at a time while keeping the market cycle in mind. That's really what it is, and it is that simple. And the leg right now is lower. There's a possibility of a bounce here with this. If you want to play it, fine. If you don't, fine. So, all right, let's go down to the top 20. Spend 40 minutes talking in circles, apparently. ETH hasn't looked good for a while. Doesn't look good today. Didn't look really that good yesterday. Not as much of a bounce as BTC. Volume also not as aggressive as BTC. So this trend continues, it looks like. XRP, little bit of a better volume than Ethereum. Not as good as BTC. Undercutting. I don't know why I have a line here. Not sure why I have a line there. Did I have a line? Why did I put a line there? What is that? I'm not sure what that line's for, but we kind of undercut and rallied on my phantom line that shouldn't exist. There's a nice little candle. That so far has changed the behavior, but it could also be the weekend as well. We'll have to see. A low volume weekend rally would lead you to sell that. It's the first sign of weakness. You just want to capture that. And that goes for BTC or anything. BNB under the 200. Yesterday we have some wick down here, but really nothing. There's really nothing here screaming good. This looks like a bear flag. You're going to see further bear flags in H patterns. Solana in a bear flag. Same thing yesterday. Look at this. Same type of a candle, almost identical. This one a little bit taller. And then you consolidate for a week, week and a half, and die. So maybe we could do something similar to that here. Doge, lower, Tron rolling over. Tron in a larger kind of daily H pattern, which is breaking down from VA tool mixed on the 2 hour. Cardano, bear flag on the 2 hour. Doesn't look very good. Hyper, H pattern, I mentioned this one in the newsletter. That's a pretty definitive H. Looks like we're trying to break lower. So you're going to want to do something with that if you want it. If you got it up here, I mentioned hold it, and you're still going to want to hold it. There's nothing changing this. Hype has been up for a long time in its own Wyckoff pattern, and it's very likely to retrace this whole move, I think, probably back down to this 13. Maybe irregardless of what the market does. You know, it may just go down. Or it could get support, but it looks like a short right now. SUI, just cascading lower in an inverted, what is this called? Curve. I guess a curve? Parabola? Doesn't look good. Chainlink, bear flag, lower. AVAX, little bit bear flag-ish, but kind of looks a little more like it may want to try to rally. But I'm sure the whole market will do the same thing, whatever that thing is. Stellar, lower. Leo was choppy. This is the only unique one. And this is a little bit perplexing. This one right here. Talked about it yesterday in the video. And not to buy it or anything. Not saying I said to buy this. It was up 1.47% when I was doing the show, which would have been here. And it subsequently rallied throughout the whole day, going above this structure, at least how I have it drawn right now. So, very unique situation right there. STRK? Yeah, well, the market sucks. Everything's going to act like a bitch. This is, I think, one of the ones to look at. I'm not sure about considering a trade. It's just a weird situation for Bitcoin Cash. Although it is a privacy token, and Dash and Zcash also privacy tokens. So is this late to the party? Is someone eating privacy tokens and this is the next one up? It got wide and loose, tried to fail, and then just handily reversed and has been really kind of doing so ever since. Volume aggregation tool looks good. If you want to buy this, I think your stops are under the low of the day today. But if the market rallies, Bitcoin Cash could have a really good little run here. You look at the daily, it's got this huge double bottom-ish pattern. Maybe this is the handle and this is an early breakout. It's a tough part of the market cycle to try to jump into something like this, especially with what we've just seen. But look what Zcash just did. Zcash just went on a monster run over the past month or two. And maybe Bitcoin Cash is next. It's possible. I'm not going to say it's not possible. It's possible. Markets can do some crazy things. And sometimes you just kind of have to play what's in front of you. And this is a possibility. I'm not going to say it's not. I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy trade either because I don't know what's going to happen. But the signatures it's putting out show a change in behavior. We were choppy, we were wide and loose, which means we got up, but then we came down. Now they forgot to hit the sell button the last time they got up here. So we've broken this whole range at this point. There's definitely distribution ahead. It's not that there's clear skies ahead, but that's why it's a dangerous trade. That's why it's a dangerous trade. So if you want it, I'd probably recommend a smaller position size than you normally would, but you still have to be on top of this. Bitcoin Cash is volatile. I mean, it can reverse over just an hour or two, and it's already kind of done that a little bit, but in an okay constructive way. I'm not saying it's not decent. I mean, you got some high volume there, got some high volume there. I don't know. It's a weird one. Definitely is a weird one. Let's take a look at that STRK. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It didn't look too bad. Definitely some volume. I will say, yeah, I see the interest and some attention. I would like this wick to not be here. I like this wick to. I mean, there's not too many flaws. Really, there's really not that many flaws other than the market cycle. Yeah, I don't know anything about this name. Yeah, trying to go up and coming back down like this. Not ideal. Ideally, you get this nice little 2-hour cup and handle. It rallies and then it stabilizes out. Instead, it came all the way back in, almost undercutting the base. Pretty close. Yeah, attention, but I would give it much more than attention. Bitcoin Cash a little bit different though. It's got some action in it, taking out some levels, not rolling over here, but I think small ball trading is the way to go unless you're really just watching and don't mind the risk. All right, Ton, bear flag. Shiba with a bear flag. You got Hedra with a bear flag. You got Litecoin with a bear flag, which is weird because Bitcoin Cash is doing okay. DOT garbage. And then MNT, interesting rallying right here. This has been a sequence of bear flags. They've kind of worked inverted. Yeah, that's just a bear flag. Bear flag there, rolling over. What do we rally into? Whatever we rally into would be a great stopping point for a short, unless the whole market just rallies. That could be actionable. You just have to try to understand where you're going. Right now, there's really not a lot. What? TQQQ. The heck? Okay, I tried to do Control Z. I don't know what I pressed. Shift Z? No. Control Z sucks. I don't know. I completely forgot what I was doing. That like short-circuited my brain. So rolling down here from MNT, rallying up. I do think this looks like a better short than a long. This is what I was going to do. I was going to try to find a prevailing trend, and some of my trend lines were... I made them go away or something. So that's the general prevailing trend. Do you rally back into that, which would be near the breakdown point? Probably around this breakdown point high. Breakdown point. One of these will be the breakdown point highs. Yeah, I think it'd be a better short in that circumstance than a long. You don't have too much volume right there. And I don't think I had any altcoins today at all. Kind of closed out Zcash yesterday. We can go over a few. We'll go over the normal ones we've been talking about. Dash, which I mentioned yesterday, pretty much is a sell on the trendline break for me. I mean, if you hadn't sold it already, why? And then if you got in and didn't sell it already, why? Kind of a dead trade going through this trend line. It's just dead at this point. And then you've got Zcash, again, going through a trend line. You just exit it. You're exiting at a great point. There's nothing wrong with that. Even if it consolidates, and you can always get back in. So this was also a dead trade. You just kind of exit on that one. It's just up too high, holding for too long. You don't want to give up that profit. I mean, that's all there is to it. It's simple. It's just simple. Just make it. They made it easy. You had a lot of time. You gave it every opportunity. Breaks trend. You just walk away. It's okay. It's okay. And then really none of the other alts really sparked a major interest that I saw. Let's take a look at stocks. Honestly, I kind of took the day off yesterday. I didn't really pay much attention to the stock market or the crypto market. So how did we end the week after kind of a garbage Thursday where NVIDIA had earnings rolled over and so did the entire market? I don't think we ended up well. We sliced through the 50-day moving average on the Qs. Like this is well below the 50-day moving average. First time it's done that in quite some time. And you saw it coming. You saw it coming. If you didn't see it coming, why not? Why didn't you see it coming? It was, trades weren't working. When trades don't work, markets like to roll over. And so That's kind of how that works. So it rolled over here. Doesn't look great on the Qs. A little bit elevated volume. Some of that can be attributed to it being a Friday. Is it triple witching Friday? It is a triple witching Friday. So not a lot of volume on the bounce given that's extra volume. Futures similar, though not identical. ES futures similar, not identical. Russell with a lot of something on Friday. That's the largest volume candle on my screen at that point. Other than these lows, that's interesting. Transports. That is interesting. That is interesting. Transports with a big move up. You've got an RSI trend line under pressure. Maybe. I can't see it because of stupid things are in the way. Can I move these? No. Oh. Hold on. Okay. Very interesting on the transports. Bullish transports lead to bullish indexes, so that's a little bit of a weird read. Apple. Again, this is a defensive play. That's kind of one of the reasons I think it's rallying. Tesla, that looks like a bear flag to me. Soxel. All right, Soxel, I'm not too mad at that. I'm not too mad at that. It looks like we had a open. Hold on a second. Thank you, James. So we started down, then we came back up. VA tool, not super convincing. We did roll over the last couple parts of the day, but and that's neither here nor there. Interesting on Soxel. Oh, James. I want to see if he ended up making any changes to his positions. Okay. You were doing your stock thing for your school, right? Yeah, you're on. They can hear you. Did you make any changes?
My friend told me to invest in J&J because it was going up, and it was. But right now, STX is losing me like $1 bajillion. So I'm
Yeah.
still
Did you
down.
buy SOXS?
Because I keep forgetting what the symbols is.
Okay. Okay.
But if I buy it, I probably, even though that I'm buying it late, it's probably still gonna get better.
Okay. Here's what you do. You ready?
What?
Well, let me look. Let me look at. Let's look at SOX. Let's look at STX.
It's dying.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. So, what you do? You sell everything.
Sell everything?
Yeah. Just go cash. Okay. We'll wait a couple days, see what the market's doing, and then we'll find something that has a little trend that you can. When is your thing ending?
Like end of the school year?
Oh, end of the school year? So, okay, you got time.
Yeah.
Okay, go cash. We'll find a good trade.
Okay.
And you'll go all in.
All in?
Yeah, it's a game. It's a game. You're playing a game.
Every single penny.
Yeah, every
I
single
can't.
penny. You can't?
Remember, I only have like a 24,000 limit.
24,000 limit.
Yeah.
All right, we will find multiple trades in that same vertical.
Yeah, I would have like 90,000
Okay.
then if I.
We'll find a good Soxel trade or something.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but yeah, sell everything.
Got it.
Just sell it. Go cash. We'll wait and we'll stock our prey.
Alright, I'll sell when I can.
Okay, that's fine. All right. Sorry, I keep forgetting to ask him if he's ever made those. I told him to buy SOXS, which is the inverse of Soxel, and that would have done really well for him. He has like a 24% day. So, I mean, it could be, we could find ourselves at some kind of interim low, but like I said, you just got to wait a little bit. So that's 62% back to the high for Soxel, which is good. I mean, it's not bad. The problem is that Nvidia here, is in a very mixed spot. You got selling. Let's go to the 1 minute. You got selling pressure, pretty much covering the day. what I could do is I could actually change this. I could change the aggregation period to 200, and we'll see where we end up. Okay, so lots of selling and a little bit of buying. So tons of selling yesterday, and we get to a little bit of buying, but it tends to wear out. So, yeah, interesting there. All right, next up, let's go to Palantir. So Palantir died. Palantir's been dead. AMD looks like maybe trying to come to the bottom part of the gap rule. ARM, Hammer, ASML, Doji, SMCI, weird little nothing bottoming candle. Reddit not doing anything of consequence here. Under lower moving averages. ExxonMobil, Microsoft, JP Morgan, ConocoPhillips. Really nothing here. Really nothing going on too much here. Meta, Stitch Fix, Qubits, Rigetti. Let's take a look at the gold and silver trades. I wish I would have. See, I really wish I would have sold up there. That was my plan, but I couldn't enable it. Couldn't enact it. Silver, not dead yet. A nice little bounce next week would be great for this trade. I still think this is a potential trade. There's been no trigger triggered yet, though. And we'll go from the top down, a little bit of a change. Curiosity Stream, GE, rolled over. APP, consolidating. Lunar, garbage. Grab, garbage. ATRO, garbage. Rocket Lab, Zscaler. A lot of things on support right now. Rocket Lab back to the 200. Zscaler with a pullback to support and the 200. ASTS in a pullback scenario there. Webull. Some good volume on earnings. We could put a floor in here. They did have an earnings surprise. Very tricky situation with a stock like this, though. Hard to find the ultimate low. Super, super hard. So that there's really nothing to do there. EME. IBKR dead. Micron. Looks like it's giving it up. Western Digital. Getting a little bit of hammers on some of these, but really nothing too intriguing. Qualcomm, USAR. Ruckus trying to go. Okay. Playing with that all-time high. Not really getting a ton of interest, though. Not a ton of interest up here. So that probably precludes it from buying for now. All right. All right, and that's it. That's pretty much it. Guys, got anything else? We'll see what Bitcoin's doing right now. Not a whole heck of a lot. So leaning forward a little bit, look, the market just had a sell-off. There's no disputing that. Trying to define it as the low, I think is premature. I don't think it is a false statement, because it could prove to be true at some point. But I think right now you're looking at a high volume candle, yesterday's, with rally potential for the foreseeable future next week or so. Depending how that rallies and how that behaves, that will tell you what the next move is likely to be. If you don't get a big enough move up, if you don't get enough volume on the way up, then it's just a nothing, and it's probably just going to roll over. If you get a nice rally, and it consolidates and things remain tight, more than just a day or two, maybe you'll look at something good. You could start looking for, if you're talking about market going back into a blatant uptrend right now. I don't know what changed last week versus this week. Maybe the frickin' Trump administration will do something additionally schizophrenic, and good or bad. I'm just schizophrenic. It's just crazy. That could lead to something. So we don't know. We really just don't know at this point. But the market doesn't look good. The market doesn't deserve your money, generally, unless you're going to watch it like you're going to watch a newborn baby while they're swimming. So, all right, guys. Have a good day. Stay safe out there. Have a great weekend. I'll see the rest of you guys on Monday. And the rest of you, I'll see you some other time. Have a good day. Bye.